Alright, welcome back to episode 23 of the Hops and Bops podcast. I am producer Tom.
I'm Joe.
I'm Mike.
And we also have a couple of guests on today. First off, we have my roommate from college, my very good friend, Paul, here. Paul, how you doing?
I am doing fine. No, wait a minute.
Wow.
Yes.
This is Paul Canarky.
This is Paul Canarky. If you're a long-time listener, if you remember episode 6.
So two people
of Thriller.
including us.
We made a joke about Paul where I was talking about how he would sing "The Girl Is Mine"
I
the
missaid his
duet
name.
sometimes, and you called Paul McCartney
I
call
said
Canarky,
Yeah.
and we laughed and giggled like little schoolgirls.
And he
LOL.
responded.
Yes, he did, and it's somewhere on our Instagram. You can go find it. We also have our friend Trevor here to give some comments. Trevor, how are you?
I'm doing well.
That's good.
I'm
Like,
doing
yeah.
even better now that I've had a few beers since our last recording.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which
Yeah. That's what we
technically
coming out
airs
before.
next time.
Next week.
So, again, a bit of a time loop that we're in.
It's a whole
But
Infinity War thing.
It's
just
just the whole
I've never seen it.
We're gonna do it before and then we're gonna do it later.
But yeah, so we have for the album we have "Moving Pictures" by Rush,
Yes.
a classic.
Oh, yeah.
my first full listen through a Rush album.
Really? Okay.
Okay.
And for the beer we have chosen Whalers Rise, a Rhode Island beer because Paul is from Rhode Island.
Very cool.
Yeah.
He brought the beer. He had to go back and get the beer because he forgot it. But it's okay. It's okay. We don't judge.
We're here now.
No.
Yes. So
So the...
they have been a little chilled. So let's see how well they
Shaken,
compare.
shaken, not stirred.
the ceremonial cracks.
This is a new MacBook, so it's gonna.
Oh!
Ooh, wow.
Oh my
Son
god,
of a-
it's icicles.
Wait, where's my slot?
It is icicles.
I picked a good one then, because mine is...
Yeah, we'll
Here,
split
Joe,
this
I'll
one.
trade it.
Look at this. Ready?
Oh, that is chunky.
Oh man! Oh, that looks better than I thought.
This one I think is a good one, so if I'll trade it back.
Go for
for
it.
a good one.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, 5.5% out of Rhode Island. I
Yep.
don't know exactly where in Rhode Island, but Wakefield.
Wakefield.
Yes.
Yes. This is considered their flagship.
Yes.
Beer?
This
So
and,
APA.
This and their East Coast IPA. They've got a couple beers. So on their website it says a bright citrus aroma leads to a pleasantly smooth body with a subtle hop spice that lingers in the background.
I do like the way this smells.
Let me give a
I'm
sip.
drinking out of...
I think I told him it was a fruity beer. Now you're gonna taste it for yourself.
Yeah.
Very citrusy.
I'm drinking out of Mike's Hartford Whalers glass. I thought it was appropriate.
Yeah, makes sense.
I like the smell. I like the color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a history with this beer. Paul brought it senior year of college when we moved in, and somewhere on the interwebs there is a picture of Paul and I actually drinking this while we were moving
Nice.
in. So I've had this before. It's a tasty beer. I'm gonna have it again.
Yeah, American Pale Ales tend to be more floral, fruity, citrus. Okay, so similar to like an IPA, especially a New England IPA,
Yeah.
Pale
which
ale.
are, your kind of citrus IPAs. Medium bodied, which I can taste. It's got that kind of cloudy color to it that
Yeah.
a normal New England IPA would have. It's, lighter on the color. It's middle of the road when it comes to bitterness, and then kind of lower end again with the ABV sitting around. They say average is 4.4 to 5.4, which you said this is 5.5.
5.5.
So it's on the high end.
This beer has won 3 awards last year.
Really?
Yes,
Whoa!
Rise specifically.
Award winning.
It won the 2020 gold medal from the Frankfurt International Trophy. It won the 2020 Pale Ale of the Year from Meininger's International Craft Beer Award, and the 2020 USA Pale Ale Brewery of the Year from Asia International Beer Competition.
Wow.
Damn.
International
Well,
recognition.
can I just throw out there, if nobody knows, we actually were in contact with Shanghai Brewery.
Yeah.
So we might,
Really?
we might be the next
Yeah,
podcast in Asia. Who
Post
knows?
wave. Yeah, I don't know.
We're still working on that connection.
Bits
Google
out.
Translate stuff.
That means I want beer in Mandarin, I believe. It's Bietao. I worked in a Chinese place in senior year of high school.
I'm laughing because he said it unexpectedly. I'm not laughing because
It,
of what was
it
said.
reminds me of Creed when he says hi to his friends in Hong Kong.
The only Mandarin I ever learned.
Paul, this beer is ice fucking cold.
It's good.
I need Bernie's mittens to drink this thing. My lord.
It's good though.
No, this is a great
Yeah,
beer.
good food pairing.
Shout out to Ryan Harrington, another shout out I want to put in there, especially because he's the one that suggested I put this stuff in the freezer because there wasn't any space in the fridge. When really, I could have just put it outside. And you know what's even more pathetic about this thing? The freezer is outside. It's not outside it's outside. It's where the outside air can get in. It's like a patio where like that little fencing stuff,
Anyway.
like a little like fabric where
It's
like air
enclosed?
gets in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's closed, but it's cold as fuck.
So this got
love it.
cold in every aspect,
Yeah.
every way possible.
So I just got to throw out that
Oh,
my
my
new website apparently to look up this beer stuff is craftbeer.com.
Who would have known?
And it gives you everything. And yeah, one of the kids is screaming. Roasted or grilled meats. Very, very specific. not as specific as spaghetti and meatballs.
Spaghetti meatballs.
Which
yeah,
you'll
that was-
find out
We'll
next
find out
episode.
next episode. Mild or medium cheddar.
Okay.
And apple pie for dessert. So, yeah.
We're definitely using this site from now on.
Definitely Trevor, once again on point with the tulip class.
Yep.
Yes.
Between 45 and 55 degrees. We may be below that.
Way below. I mean, my esophagus is
yeah.
frozen.
You're icing it up for the episode.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Oh, man.
Look
Yeah,
at where the
but
look where
The
it
foam
was.
started.
Look where it's good.
Yeah.
Look where it was. Look where it's going.
I'm a huge fan of like logos and imagery, and I love their cans. They're just simple,
Yeah.
simple, minimalistic.
good color scheme.
Good color scheme, very coastal. I mean, with the light blue. Obviously, there's a whale on it, and because they're
Okay,
called
sperm
whalers, sperm whale.
Also, we have a little voice memo or a
We
message.
do. So we
from-
reached out to Whalers Brewery themselves, and they were kind enough to give us a little sound clip about the beer itself. So let's take a listen.
Hey, I'm Josh, founder and one of the head brewers down here at Whalers Brewing Company in South Kingstown, Rhode Island. Big shout out to Hops and Bops. Thanks for sliding into our DMs. Pumped to be featured today. What you guys are trying is Rise, our 5.5% American Pale Ale, which is a super light and crushable beer with strong but smooth citrus aromas. It's a beer you can drink anytime or anywhere. We're really excited to launch statewide in Connecticut, especially because Wes, another co-founder and head brewer here at Whalers, is from that beautiful state. So drink up. Thanks again, Hops and Bops. We're excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so thank you to Whalers for sending that. We really appreciate that. And again, we appreciate this beer. It's very, very smooth.
This is a
Yeah,
yes.
this is a really good
Smooth
one.
beer. It's an APA, not an IPA.
I'm wondering if I've even ever had an APA. Like, this might be
Had
the first
American
one.
Pale Ales before.
Have you? I probably have.
Montreal's
It
an
just-
APA.
So Paul, tell us why you chose this beer and this brewery.
Oh, it is the Rhode Island brewery.
Okay.
I mean, there are other breweries. There's Flying Jenny and there's Grey Sail, but
Yep.
Whalers takes the trophy on this one.
Okay,
Ooh, I
cool.
like it.
It does. It's just, I mean, I was working at a restaurant in the same town where Whalers is brewed. I poured way more Whalers than all other beers combined, even beers that aren't even brewed near me, and there are plenty of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But Whalers is the Rhode Island brew.
Awesome.
that's good to know because
Yeah,
like
that's
I go to Newport a lot. I go to other parts of Rhode Island a lot, and I've always wanted to go to a brewery in Rhode Island. So now I know. I had never heard of them until we planned this episode out. So
Maybe it's just the can being so simple. I feel like I've seen the can before.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
well, I
know.
mean, their logo is Connecticut State
Yeah.
Animal. So
No, I almost forgot them today. And,
we
almost
noticed
didn't
that.
happen.
Good thing you didn't, though.
Yeah.
This is a worthwhile beer.
Although
to,
timing-wise, it all
remember.
worked out just fine.
It did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It did. Time for the album.
Yeah, let's switch over.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Moving
Ooh.
Pictures by Rush. What year did this come out, Paul?
1981.
Yes, it did.
February
1981.
12th.
All right.
Oh,
all
wow.
right.
This airs when?
Who cares?
February
I don't know.
28th.
All right.
Oh, that's
Couple-
why, because
Yeah.
it would release like on the same
It
day.
released
almost.
a couple of weeks
Yeah,
ago.
just a couple days
but,
off.
You know.
That's the day that you got to
30
release
40
the
years.
podcast.
40 years.
Exactly
Shit.
40
No,
years.
on the 40 year.
Wait, yeah.
This
You
is
got there before
yeah.
I did.
This is the
He's a math.
I'm a math
major.
professional.
You're paid to math.
Paid to math. Wow, so the 40th anniversary of this album. This
Wow.
is great.
Just happened.
We
Perfect.
planned that.
Of course we did.
I'm still used to saying that this album came out like 30 something years ago.
Yeah, right.
Oh, not 40. I'm not.
Jeez,
I know.
1981 was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
81.
Oh my god.
So this is their 8th album as a band.
Yeah.
7 tracks long, a short album,
Loved it.
and ADD brain. But a lot of the songs weren't long. Because I got to be honest, I'm a Rush guy. I love Rush, love Neil Peart. But
Peart.
this, okay.
Please.
So this is something that I wanted to talk
Oh, God.
about. People say Peart.
I
People say Peart. You seem like a Rush guy. What is it?
It's Peart.
Is it Peart?
Yes.
Huh.
See, I grew
I
up
always say
knowing
Peart.
Peart.
Yeah.
Me too. Until I saw a video of Geddy Lee explain himself.
Yes.
And then another video of Neil Peart himself actually saying that it's Peart.
Peart.
yeah.
But everybody. But
So
everybody
Jay
thinks
Callis
it's
from college was actually right. Wow. Okay. All right. Peart.
Arrogant bastard.
Nice.
And he's
But-
dead, so you really have to get
Yes,
Yes.
put some respect on his name.
Well, I know he passed away about a year ago now.
Right,
You know, a
sad.
little longer.
Alright,
Which effectively ended the band, which is very
Yeah.
sad.
yeah.
You know, I read their Wikipedia again. You know, just getting some knowledge about the album,
Sponsored.
some back.
Yeah.
sponsored by
We got a
background. But it says, you know, Rush was a Canadian band from.
Yeah.
It's just it's weird to see that it's past tense now. It sucks, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not familiar with the band Rush, that they've just been through so much. They had
Oh, yeah.
quite a history, and I actually highly recommend the Netflix documentary. It's called Rush Beyond the Lighted Stage. Even if you're not a Rush fan, just to see what a band goes through, like throughout their life while recording albums, go watch it. Oh my God, this thing.
Yeah, so
is great.
That's good.
I've mentioned this in prior episodes, I think, and just, you know, amongst us all hanging out and everything. And I was never a big Rush person. Just wasn't for me. The progressive rock, I struggle with Geddy Lee's voice sometimes. Can be just a little too whiny for me.
That's fair.
But respect them as a band and the talent that they have as a whole. And especially Neil Peart.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did I say it right? Okay.
Yes.
So after seeing one of my first concerts, which was Godsmack, but it was an acoustic tour, I saw Shocker. As we talked about in
That's the
next
acoustics.
episode. Oh, we're all fucked.
The timeline's
Yeah.
all.
The beer's not helping.
The band, the song Serenity that they wrote was actually one of the few songs Godsmack had written about something other than personal, like life experiences. Serenity is written based off of Neil Peart's book. It's so weird to say. Ghost Rider, which is his like autobiography, however you put it, about him literally getting on his motorcycle and just driving across Canada.
And this was after
His wife and daughter both passed away.
Yeah.
Within a year, like in the same year, I think.
10
It
months
was-
apart.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
crazy. So that was kind of like my only real, other than the singles on
Connection.
the radio or anything, connection with this band. So it was just kind of cool. And then going in, this was, as I said, my first full listen to a Rush album because I've never been a huge fan of them in that aspect. And it was a good album. I really liked it.
Yeah.
No,
same.
it's definitely got like all the classics. on
Yeah,
it,
it had
especially
a-
the
yes.
A side.
Yeah, it had its high points and and just like you said, it's A side.
Yeah.
Personally, the first, 7 songs, the first 4 were much better than the last 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I feel like they kind of did it like that on purpose. a
Yeah.
bit, because, you know, you get a 10-minute song later in the track. But I mean, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
definitely the A side was written, I feel like, with more single power in mind.
Yeah.
No doubt it's the most popular and iconic album. I'm personally a bigger fan of their other albums just as a full experience.
Okay.
I would say Fly By Night, Hemispheres, Signals, and even like 2112 I feel like are better album experiences. But I feel like this is the biggest album in terms of single power we've done in a while, except for maybe Thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we mentioned before. But
Good point.
yeah, no,
That's all Thriller was.
yeah, no, I really wanted Paul to be on this episode because he is one of the biggest Rush fans I know.
Oof.
I lived with him for 4 semesters, and I think there was only 2 other bands I heard you listen to. It was this, Queen, and the Police. That's about it.
What are the other two?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're a huge Rush fan. I'll let you get into that though.
No, it's Moving Pictures, man. It's one of the best albums I've ever heard. I mean, it was this band was probably my first ever musical obsession. I mean, like obsession. I mean,
Yeah.
I just wanted to know everything about this band, and I watched the movie. I really wanted to watch it. I watched it, loved it, watched it again. I haven't watched the follow-up to it, like the one about them like finding a good way to tour, like to end their musical life like with grace. That's basically what like their last like movie's about. I think it's called Time Stands Still, but it's narrated by Paul Rudd, so you know it's good.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And
What a great pick.
he's a Rush fan.
Slapping the BS man.
Yeah, because he's a Rush fan. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Makes sense.
yeah, like Ant-Man's a Rush fan. That's cool. But
Yeah.
Fantastic.
but no, like this band is just I can't put into words how good this band is. It's just
It-
I mean
Right. And just the sound they get out of 3 guys
Exactly.
is just amazing. I mean, Geddy Lee, say what you want about his voice. And I agree, it could be whiny at times, but he's just the X factor of the band.
Absolutely.
And then you got Neil Peart. And then you got Alex Lifeson on guitar. It's just unbelievable. And it's just sad that it took him until 2013 to get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's way long overdue. So I thought this was interesting. This is their 8th album, but it's also their 8th album in a 7-year time frame.
Wow.
They cranked out albums from
Oh, yeah.
1974 to 1981. You're basically looking at an album every year.
yeah.
And they just wrote, recorded. And this album I kind of consider part of a career-defining string of albums, starting with 2112. I think 2112, they caught some flack before that for being like too experimental, too proggy, and they made 2112, and then everything after that was just like boom, boom, boom. And I think this is kind of the heart of where they are. I don't know if you agree with that, Paul, but
2112 is a good one. I think they really come into their own on that one.
yeah.
And that's where they started, like with Fly By Night and Caress of Steel, and then 2112. That's when they started getting into like the longer songs,
Right.
Like the ones that take like 20 minutes or longer. And then when you get to Moving Pictures, they stop. I think that's when they start getting into the shorter, more songs that you can put on radio.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when But no, their 70s stuff, I really like A Farewell to Kings, the one that came after 2112.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has Closer to the Heart on it.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's like a prog like speed dream.
Yeah.
Like every time you listen to it, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Farewell to Kings is nice.
But the sounds these guys can make, just the 3 of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's also amazing that Neil Peart was the main lyricist of the band. You don't often see that from a lot of drummers, which made him, stand out in my eyes, over some others.
Can I also say that one of his labeled instruments on Wikipedia is plywood?
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Plywood.
Can make sound out of anything. Yeah,
He would use anything.
He really
for sure.
And I know we've talked about this in the past about them being 3 guys and all that. 𝙈𝙤𝙀𝙾. Apparently he was a synthesizer player, and that was the only additional musician on this album that was credited. So just throwing it out there, I caught me off guard because I've always known them to be like just the big 3.
Yeah. He's also the guy that made all their album covers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
That's
cool.
cool.
So
know
they
that.
let him. So they were like, I play keyboards. I can play.
yeah, why not? I mean, it makes sense.
His
Why
gateway
wouldn't
in was the album covers.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, by the way,
That's
also,
Yeah. Also, I play keyboards.
you? Yeah, but that's cool, and I like the backstory. That's a cool
yeah,
little.
Yeah, I always wondered who did that because
tidbit.
I always heard little
believe
bits of
that's
it.
him. Yeah, I believe that's what he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's bits of that on Tom Sawyer. I know there's the camera eye. There's a lot of that on there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
wondered if that was like Getty or something. But that's
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Let's start this album.
Shall we?
Track
you
1.
start in with their biggest single of all time, Tom Sawyer.
I don't know. Maybe you've heard of it.
We start the best Rush album, I think, with maybe the best Rush song. I think.
That's a
maybe.
great
Fair
song.
enough.
It really is.
It's definitely the most recognized Rush song of all time. I would say.
Yep.
Yeah, once that icy synth note hits right at the beginning, you know exactly
Oh,
what you're
yeah.
getting after it.
Yeah. You know, for me. It's like an air drummer's and air guitarist's dream. You know, it's
Yes.
for people that
He's
can't.
seen it.
Yeah. For people that can't play, like you can play,
Yeah.
and you're just air drumming, air guitar along right to this.
Yep.
We talk about Guitar Hero and Rock Band on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember my exact score, but I scored somewhere in the 80s on expert level drums on this song, and I was pretty proud of it.
Congratulations.
Thank
Solid.
you. Thank you very much. I wish I had more
I was
Cronkite.
gonna say,
Cronkite?
Cronkite.
Walter
Cronkite? And that's the way it was.
Way about
Concrete data, but it did happen. It did happen.
I believe you.
I mean, what can you say about this song? This is just,
Great.
this is the song. This
Every
is
good,
the-
It is.
every good thing about Rush put into one song.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe not what they wanted. Maybe not what they ended up doing in the '90s, where they got a little more into like the grungy type movement.
In
but
the 80s, a little more electronica, yeah.
yeah, but this, I mean, I think like the early '80s, especially like the year '81, it's like that's like the year of like when like the best rock started coming out.
Yeah.
Like all my favorite bands were touring and releasing albums at that time. But Tom Sawyer, like it just puts every experimental element about Rush into one song. You know,
I feel like
Yeah.
their heavy side and their
Yeah.
synth side,
Yep.
and then
proggy
Yeah.
goes to that 7/8 time in the after, and everyone's heard this song.
Yeah.
I feel like right.
It should.
Everyone has heard of this song.
ask your girlfriend, see if she has. I doubt it.
I literally,
probably. Stay
I
away.
literally
She's
wrote
not-
that is-
PLR on the radio. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sawyer, right? So it's,
I literally wrote that it was a great opening tune, but not only that, it literally shows every bit of Rush essential. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
there's not a single part of the band that's
Yeah.
missing from this song.
And that drum solo. I mean, that's the only drum solo that you can kind of like mumble or like hum along to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you just know like every part of it. If you know the
Yep.
song, you know the part of the drum solo.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah, it's more than double the amount of plays of their next song in terms of like plays on Spotify at
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
Because this has like 158 million, and their next one, which is what? Oh, Limelight. It's 68.
On the same album.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it
Crazy.
it goes to show you how much
Wow.
like single power this album
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those two songs and a couple others for sure.
Yeah. It's if I can steal your word,
Yes.
the most quintessential Rush album.
Yeah.
He did it.
In terms of
Probably.
popularity.
He did
Would
it.
you
He
agree with
said
that, Paul?
I think it is the quintessential Rush album. I
Yeah.
think me and the other Trevor would
Our-
talk
my
about
other
this. He
roommate,
thinks
Trevor.
2112 would be
Of the original.
I think we'd be
I would say I'm a Rush fan. I'm not as experienced as maybe you are, but I would say the diehards would probably say 2112, but the more casual mainstream fan
Me.
would say moving pictures. Yeah,
Pictures.
yeah. So like you give them these two albums. This is Rush.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, and then you go right into the next song, Red Barchetta.
Yep.
I thought this was a really great song. I have some experience with this song when I took drum lessons. My drum teacher, said, "Hey, let's learn this song," and it was kind of like a deep cut. It was a nice deep cut if you're not a follower of the band. Incredibly tight musicianship, even during the solo too. I thought it was just a great song. I like this song a lot.
Yeah, no, I think it was around this. It was around like this time, like the early '80s, when they started experimenting with reggae and like some reggae beats. And there's definitely some of that in Red Barchetta.
Yeah.
And you kind of hear it in the beginning, and the kind of guitar tone he's using, his name Alex Lifeson is using. It's it really shows in this song, and it's one of the it's one of like the ones that is popular. I don't know if it was released as a single.
I don't think it
I
was.
don't believe so.
Let me look at the single.
The only singles were, I think, Tom Sawyer, Limelight, and Vital Signs.
You were
Really?
correct.
Vital Signs.
Yes,
Yeah.
Vital
Vital
Signs
Signs
was
was
the
a
third
single.
release.
Huh.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
And they actually released Tom Sawyer and Limelight, right? Wikipedia says, same day.
Really?
Well, it's probably like a 45 or something.
Yeah. So those were the two singles released on February 28th of 81.
Yeah.
And then March of 81 was Vital Signs. That
Yeah,
was
that's
it.
probably just A side, B side of the 45.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it goes to show like even out of the big singles of this, I don't think it's the best single, but it just goes to show how big those
Yeah.
4 songs in the beginning are.
Yep.
It's still
Huge.
really fun. a really good flow of energy on the track for me too.
Yeah.
They have this was one of a string of songs that they would name with the color red at the beginning of it.
Oh, really?
They have red Barchetta, and then red Sector A, and then red Lenses, and then red Tide. These were all 80s songs.
Not know
Nice.
Yeah, interesting.
And two were on the same album, which I thought was weird. But.
Yeah.
No, I thought it had like a pretty interesting like intro. It was a good song. My only downside to this song was I thought Geddy's lead voice was whinier than usual in this song.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like harder for me to get into.
That's fair.
You know, Tom Sawyer's just a great tune. You know it. I mean, you could hate Rush and you still know Tom Sawyer.
Right.
And then this one came in and I was like, all right, it's a good song. But then his singing and I don't know, it was almost a little too much for me personally. But the next song.
Oh, YYZ.
Why?
Where do we start with this?
Can I start with this one? I have a story that I'd like to share.
Oh, I know this.
Paul knows this story very well. I won't name names because it's a bit of an embarrassing story. So this was probably the second or third week of our freshman year of college, and my unnamed friend, we were all eating in the common area of school, which is like where we eat lunch or whatever, and he had to go to the bathroom, so he said, I gotta go. And there's only one bathroom in there, so he went, and he texted our group chat, he's like, hey, I shit my pants on the way to going to the bathroom. I need someone to get me a pair of shorts. I was like, all right. But he was like, I need to know, like, it's you when you get to the door, so you need to knock the pattern of YYZ in the beginning. So it's... Did I mess that up? I think I did.
You had it.
I
The
did.
beginning of it, but then you caught up.
Oh, yeah. So I knocked that on the door, so then he opened the door and I gave him the shorts.
Wow,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Love
this song, it's so much fun. It's so different than all the other songs. There's no vocals on it.
It's all instrumental.
I wrote in my notes, where is it? It feels like they were all writing a song where they all soloed on top of it, but they wrote it in such a way that it's cohesive.
Yeah.
It makes sense in the context of the song, and it's very smooth. And the synth addition in the end, like in that bridge section, worked as a perfect break from the other energy of the main section.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Like for me, I've seen them once, and this is a fan favorite at concerts. And I've seen live footage. When this song comes on, I mean, the place goes crazy.
I went crazy.
Yeah,
I went nuts.
yeah. I always thought it was longer. I didn't realize it was like a 4-minute song,
Yeah.
and to realize like how proggy and like experimental it is to keep it at such a length, like they killed it. Fucking killed it on this song.
Ridiculous. If you hear I think the artist that shines the most on this song is Geddy. I mean, Neil is second. Like, Neil's good on everything, but Geddy, I mean, I'm a bass player. Like, I played bass for years. I still cannot get that riff down.
Yeah.
I mean, I can if I do it a little slower, but man, that shit is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he is playing everything down to like an atom. He is so damn good.
Yeah.
And, like,
Laser focused.
and I mean, I just find it so funny that he's like a virtuoso on such a low instrument, but he has like one of the highest voices ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
we've talked about this in the past. I forget what other band we talked about where the bassist was the vocalist. It was a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
And just the idea that singing, and then someone like Geddy Lee, which is a high octave of, vocals, singing and playing such a, when you sing and play guitar, you're pretty much in the same range between guitar and vocals. And then you look at bass, well, it's tough enough when you're on an average octave and you're playing bass. And now you're an above average octave and you're playing bass. Like,
Yeah.
to be able to do two of those at once, it's just it's
Ridiculous.
Absolutely.
not
ridiculous.
easy.
This song, like, I remember hearing a live version of it on one of their live albums. I think it was released around the time of this album. It was like the tour that they did in support of it. And-
Exit Stage Left.
Yeah, Exit Stage Left is really good. And this song, they do it really good. And then there's a drum solo right in the middle of it. It lasts like 4 minutes.
Oh my god,
He's
his drum
so-
solos are
So good.
incredible.
So sometimes they stick drum solos in the middle of songs and then they continue it after. This was the song that they chose to put the drum solo in the middle of. Usually it would be an instrumental, but this was the one they chose. But it's still amazing.
Absolutely.
But this, I mean, everybody knows like how it begins, and it's
Yeah.
the code of. I think the initials are the code of the Toronto airport. So they just.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. I always wondered
Yeah, I
that.
looked that up.
Yeah.
That's what
Cool.
it was. Yeah.
And it's pronounced YYZ.
Oh.
That's how you say it in Canadian. It's
Yeah.
YYZ.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Okay.
that eight?
I actually did look that up.
I like it.
I'm hit or miss with instrumentals. Like they just got to be
Mm-hmm.
like right there. This one just blew it.
Oh, yeah.
If
Blew
you
the
listen,
cover off. It's just short. It's sweet. You didn't miss the vocals on it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
No.
saying? Like
Yeah,
that's my issue with instrumentals. Sometimes you hear them, like, wow, that was really fucking good, but where were the vocals? This one, you heard it and you were like, wow, that was really good.
It was meant to be
And that was the end of it.
instrumental.
Like you
Yeah.
didn't need
Yeah.
vocals. I don't think they would have added anything.
Yeah. Like I think everybody's favorite part is when they've done their solos and then there's like a huge break for a synth
Yeah.
storm.
And it just opens up. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like so good. I mean,
It is.
Well, I feel like for the lack of vocals, the song kind of communicates itself because it has that like call and response thing where everyone has their like musical little solos, like, and I mean, this is
yeah. When you're done with this, listen to the isolated bass track of this song. It is
Oh.
insane.
nice.
Oh, is there one?
It is
Cool.
insane.
That'd be a lot of fun. Trevor, do you have any thoughts on this track?
Yeah, Trevor's still
So-
here,
yes,
or is here.
Shocker, right? But you keep giving me beer, I'm sticking around.
But your episode's in an area. We're in a real fucking time.
Yeah,
warp.
this
This is a
We'll figure
format
it out.
buster.
But yeah, I mean, I like YYZ for pretty much all the reasons that you guys already stated. It is a really good instrumental track. I mean, it's short, it's sweet. It doesn't go on for 7, 8, 9 minutes or whatever like they typically do. And it's just, it's got all of the Rush on display. I mean, they're an extremely talented trio, and it shows. So,
Actually wrote stupid good musicians.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like there was nothing else to write. Like they're just they're so good. They shouldn't be that good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how good they are.
Right.
I
They
think
shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
they were trying to make a follow up. I think to Livia Strangiato because that was the only instrumental they had, and then they were
Yep.
like, well, let's make another one. And but that's not make it long.
Everything is unbelievable about the song. It was like what'd you say, 4 or 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Done.
and a
And
half.
it was like you couldn't.
And every bit of it was
It
like
just kept you
enjoyable.
tied in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There wasn't
There
any
wasn't
down
one
parts.
part that you were like, all right, what's next? And I think that absolutely like if that song YYZ was
Excuse me.
We're not
My bad.
racist here.
yeah. If this song was 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes long, I think it would have lost its
That's fair.
steam.
It's luster.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
well, that's been the hop.
No, you got one more.
No, I'm just kidding.
kidding.
I mean, next song, Limelight. So for me, like, Tom Sawyer is like the Rush song. Limelight's my favorite Rush song. I love
wow.
the song. Yeah, I love the song. It's another classic, my personal favorite. I'm a big fan of the awesome airy transition into the guitar solo. It kind of just ends, and Alex kind of just rings on that one note. You could just imagine, close your eyes, and just be in an arena and like witness that, and which I was lucky to do, and a couple of us are. It's just a great song, and just an awesome feeling, and yeah, I love the song. It's a great arena song.
Great lyricism too.
Definitely, it's one of their popular ones, I think.
Yeah.
Along with Tom Sawyer, like that riff. That's just,
Right. It's tangible. It's tangible for people.
yeah.
And it's weird because it's right on the line of the 80s. It's in 81. So you have songs that, like Tom Sawyer, that's super synth heavy, sound a lot more 80s driven. This one sounds a bit more 70s driven, if that makes sense.
Yeah. They have that little synth in the background, but that's really all the synth that you
Yeah.
get. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This was right. Yeah.
I gotta pee. Trevor's taking over for me.
Tap in.
Yeah, and it's hard too because there's only 3 of them, so there's not a lot of when you have a lot of people in a band, you can rely on a bunch of them to pick up the slack of some
Right.
of the other people.
Right.
When there's 3 of them, it's so precise, like they all have to be on point or they mess up.
Yep.
So you
exactly.
don't really see a lot of trios where one of them is not as good.
Right.
you get people like, you know, the Police or even like Nirvana, where they're all so on point and good that, you know, the songwriting and the product that comes out of it are so good. Yeah. And, you know, with Rush, it's the same thing, you know. They're all so talented and so good at what they do that they don't even need a fourth.
Right.
And with the synth, yeah, maybe. But.
Right. But, and then in terms of, like, fan interaction, like, Neil never did anything. He just wasn't into it.
Yeah.
So it was always Alex and Getty doing it. This seems to be the bathroom episode because I also have to go.
Dude,
You know what, should we just
We're gonna
pause
be
real
going in
quick?
shifts.
just take a.
And me too.
Should we?
Should we
All
just
right.
pause?
Yeah.
We're
Hard
taking a
pause?
Hops and Bops official pee break.
First ever.
The Hops and Bops podcast will be back after these short messages.
For real though, for the actual like episode, you should put in some like elevator music here, like 20 seconds.
When you're listening to
Like,
the best
10
of
seconds.
oldies, you're listening to 98.9.
Like actual, that would be hilarious.
All right, Paul, you can go first.
Oh, I want to go so fast.
And we're back.
I gotta say, I liked Camera Eye. I liked it. You know, I don't mind the longer
First
songs.
hour or the second hour?
All right, well, I don't poo-poo long songs. Like I can take them. I have a tolerance for them, and I kind of like this. I thought the later part was kind of repetitive. It almost sounded like they took like the song and then like played it again. But
Yeah.
but I thought like the distinct parts were good. I thought it was a well-made song. I kind of liked it. I read up on it a little bit. It was about Neil like walking around in like New York and London, and they kind of informally named the two parts of the song, like New York
Yes.
and London. I thought that was kind of cool.
If you look at the track listing on our handy dandy friend Wikipedia,
Wicca.
Sponsored by.
Wikipedia.
yep, sponsored by, it is considered
Not
Camera
actually.
Eye 1, aka New York, and then Camera Eye 2, aka London.
Right. You know, is it drawn out? Sure, but I liked it. I didn't mind this song.
Yeah.
The album didn't end at Limelight for me.
And there's even Rush songs previous to this that are super long that I appreciate a lot. Even 2112.
Yeah.
Even was it Cygnus off of Hemispheres, Book 2 or whatever it was.
Yeah, Book-
I love that track.
Hey, actually, book 2.
well, Book 1 was on what, A Farewell to Kings or whatever it was. Yeah. So
Just
just
wanted to,
Yeah, I know.
These titles book 2.
yeah, the titles
Yeah.
are weird, but
It's so Neil Peart.
yeah, just based off of a track's length alone doesn't necessarily count as a mark against it, but it's what they do in the track
Right.
that, you know,
Well said. Tom.
that
Yes.
does that.
I can agree with that.
Like you said, it does go back to that two-part system at the end, which wasn't the greatest for me. I wish they switched it up a little bit at the end. But it is a good song.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. Am I going to go back to it a lot? Not necessarily, but it was still decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we talk about YYZ or Z and how, you know, it's 4.5 minutes or whatever of instrumental and it does really well. I mean, I feel like you had that again. The first 4 minutes and 43 seconds was instrumental for this. And then it came in with some vocals and then went another 6 minutes before it ended. I don't know. I just felt like it didn't catch my attention. You know, it was 10 minutes and 59 seconds in total. So it was almost 11 or 10:58, 10:59. It was almost a full 11 minutes. And it just, I don't know, it just didn't have the staying power for me to be that long.
Yeah.
Like it just got to a point almost even within that first 4.5 minutes of like,
Yeah.
all right, what are we doing here?
Right.
And
I agree. Like once part 2 came around, the only difference was the lyrics. Like
Yeah.
the instrumental parts were kind of the same. But you know, for me, I thought all the instrumentals were great along this song. So I didn't mind it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think this was like the last long song they made.
It was.
Yeah, it was the
I
last one.
did see that.
It was the last
Yeah.
one, and then after that they would only the long songs would only stick to like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, or 7.
Or if it was like live or something, and they
yeah.
If it was live, they could do whatever they wanted.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but no, I like it. It's really synth heavy in a lot of parts, and there's kind of minimal guitar, but it has a cool riff. It's got a cool riff that that the guitar plays and then the bass joins it later. And
Yep.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this came out right at the beginning of the 80s, and I feel like it defined a lot of what the rest of the era was going to sound like with these super synth-heavy driven tracks. And, you know, it just goes to show the influence and the power that this album, not even the band, but this album had.
Yeah.
You know? It defined a lot of what was to follow afterwards.
It set themselves up, too, because, like, after this album, I don't really kind of look to their 80s stuff as much.
What was after that? Signals is good, though.
No. Okay, I will say Signals was good, but maybe after that, like, I don't know, the 90s and, like, late 80s stuff, I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
It kind of relied too much on the synth and went away from, like, the power trio, like Holy Trinity kind of for me.
Yeah, anything after, like, Power Windows is kind of meh for me.
Yeah.
Power Windows is good.
Yeah.
I was listening to that on the way here.
85. You didn't listen to this on the way here?
Power Windows, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Which way here?
The way back. No, the way back. The way here a second time.
The way here, part 2.
Yeah.
Book 2.
Book two.
Yeah, Witchhunt was after that.
I didn't like it. Move
I
on.
thought it had a long opening.
Underrated.
Yeah.
Underrated.
Think so. Okay.
Interesting.
Underrated, I think. But no, Witchhunt has a really long intro.
It does, yeah.
And it's definitely supposed to be like reminiscent of like the Salem
It's
witch
kind
trials.
of power balladish is what I put. Like, it,
Yeah.
A little bit.
you know, you got that feel to it, but I thought it was kind of boring.
It was slow and boring for me.
Yeah.
It didn't show what they were as a band.
If there was if you didn't think the other songs were really synth heavy, this one is.
Right,
There's
yeah.
like a big, like a synth wave coming at you.
Yeah,
and,
right.
That's what the main chorus is.
Right.
But still, like, it's still Rush. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
it still works. I mean,
They definitely still have their very defined sound.
Yeah, but
They stick to it.
But no, I get it. I if you could pick a weak one off this album, I think it would be Witchhunt.
Yeah,
That's-
because the album is so powerful by itself that there's only 3 songs you can really pick as the worst, and maybe on a different
last
album.
3?
Yeah, maybe on a different album, this song wouldn't be as bad, but in terms of how good this album was,
Right.
this one's probably down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vital Signs is the one that closes it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I felt like this album this song had the most like reggae feel almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On
if
those-
you didn't
those
yeah.
upbeats.
if you didn't hear reggae on Red Barchetta, you definitely hear it on
Absolutely,
Vital
yeah.
Signs.
When the
Yeah.
song first started, I mean, I know the song, but when it first starts, I thought I was listening to the Police.
Yeah.
And it sounds like
They definitely borrowed from the Police
Yeah.
during this time.
it was kind of like Police meets Prague for me. And
Yeah.
you know, I didn't mind the song. What was this? The 3rd single, I think, on the album.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a good song. You know, it's not my favorite, but I thought it was a good song.
Had a cool intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think this is like one of the songs that they like to play live. But
Yeah.
I mean, every song on Moving Pictures, I've heard the isolated bass track. This is one of the ones that stands out.
Well,
Really,
that's
yeah.
actually I wrote in here that it has a great like running bass line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's just constantly moving. He's not hanging on any notes. It's just constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool. And then the chorus came in, which wasn't bad. Verses were okay, but I don't know. I felt like it's still just to end an album on this song.
Actually, no. No. Camera would have been a better closer.
Yeah. Which one was just too down for me? Like to have those power songs, like that first 4. When you think of Rush, you're thinking of 3 of those 4 songs. To end an album on Witchhunt, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Camera I would have been better. And then
Yeah.
They constantly tried to reinvent themselves and take advantage of like the technology that's out on a lot of the electronic drums or the synths, but at the end of the day, the root of it all, it's still Rush. And I appreciated that. Like they have a good variety as a discography, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it allows people to find their way. Like some people might like the early stuff. Some people might like 2112 post that. Some people might like the 80s, the 90s. Some people might like the revival from like what's that, Vapor Trails and beyond. Like you know when Neil came back and you know revived himself. So I just think as a whole, like the band themselves just have a great story, and it's a good band to kind of you know look into and read up on.
Yeah.
this album, for me, is the perfect blending of keyboards and guitar.
Definitely.
Better than any Yes record I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I think.
I'll give you that.
I know that. 10 years separates Moving Pictures from like the Yes album or Fragile, but
Yeah, Fragile is.
but still, this album it gets me going. Whenever you hear Tom Sawyer, you just want to like move.
Yeah.
It has like that pop feel, but it's a killer one.
So yeah. Overall, what were your favorite tracks? I
Top
guess I will
tracks?
start first.
Yeah.
I went with YYZ. I feel like we're all gonna be pretty similar on that. I went back, listened to it while we were talking to it, and then while you're talking about Vital Signs, I went back and listened to YYZ again. I'm still listening to it right now.
Yeah.
Great fucking track.
Yep.
Another one I've listened to for a while because it was on Guitar Hero, obviously. Such a cultural thing between me and my friends. You know, we all love this track.
Right. Sounds like you have a personal connection to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite tracks of all time.
Yeah.
Definitely up there.
Yeah. So I actually feel bad. I didn't label YYZ or Z as a favorite or top. I love the song. It's just it's
Okay.
part of the album for me. My top track is Limelight. It's my
Totally
favorite
fair.
Rush song of all time. I love Tom Sawyer, but Limelight, just when I listen to that song, I just feel like I'm in an arena watching a live concert, and I just love it. And the fact that the movie I Love You Man, which we've referenced, kind of teases that song, like I love that movie.
Yeah.
That could be part of it. But I love Limelight. That's my top track for me.
Trevor.
I'm going to echo Joe Sod and also go Limelight. I understand that Tom Sawyer was the big song off the album, and I can certainly see why. But to me, Limelight had more of a, more of a personal touch, more of a, Tom Sawyer I see as, if I turned on PLR while I was mopping the floors at the marina when I was 14 years old, I'd probably hear it twice before I finished mopping the floors.
It's the song everyone knows.
So
It's,
Yeah,
it
definitely.
is, you hear it all the time, and I'm just not sure if it was, it's good. Is it that good? Maybe not, but I think Limelight's that good.
Yeah.
So if I heard Limelight twice while mopping the floors, I wouldn't be complaining. So
Yep, I actually picked Limelight as well.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it just was it's my go-to. It's super catchy, has a great hook. This is one of the few songs with Geddy Lee that I actually really liked his vocals. I thought he did a really good job. Wasn't too whiny. Just kind of hitting the right tone for me. And then you throw in the lyrical aspect of it being like, it's really Neil Peart saying he doesn't like being
Who?
famous. Neil Peart.
Thank you.
Saying,
No,
Neil Peart.
Yeah.
No. Basically saying he doesn't like being famous. I
Right.
mean, that's really what it is. He's like, hey, I'm one of the best drummers ever, but I don't want to be. It's like weird, It's just so that's kind of cool dynamic of him writing the lyrics versus him being who he is, and just that made the song even better
Top song for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your favorite
Yeah.
track?
off his album.
Tom Sawyer.
Okay,
Tom Sawyer.
I love it.
For me.
Yeah.
No, it's just that track, like the way it begins and the fade out at the end.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And it's a good rocker, and it shows off all the guys' abilities on their instruments. And
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, any of those
Sure.
four, honestly.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And it's on an instrumental, but usually I like songs where the singer sings, but I like a good instrumental now and then.
Yeah.
And I love that this album has one.
Mhm.
But Tom Sawyer,
Definitely.
for sure.
Synth
And some hard rock in there.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
How about your bottom track?
Yeah, what's your
If you
least
had to pick a
favorite?
bottom track.
The one that I think about the least,
Yeah.
if I think about Tom Sawyer the most, I think about Red Barchetta the least.
Really?
Really?
Really.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Really. I don't know. It's the one I go to the least.
Mm.
I like the live version of it a whole lot more than the studio version.
That's fair.
But,
Okay.
but no, I'll always go back to that one last. But Tom
Yeah.
Sawyer first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's a little bit harder to pick the least favorite on this, especially when there's only 7 tracks. I personally went with Witchhunt. It was just a little too long in the intro and a little bit slower, and they didn't really play to their strengths as much as they should have. And in terms of all the rest of the single power it has, it didn't really live up to it as much.
Tom, I agree. It's Witchhunt for me. I thought it was kind of a disservice to them as musicians. It was just kind of slow and drawn out. It didn't really do justice for me. So Witchhunt was my bottom track.
So for me, this is a bit of an impromptu sit-in. So
Just say Witchhunt.
I used to work at a golf course before I had a car. I had to walk 2.5 miles each way to work, which gave me about an hour to listen to an album. So I'd listen to an album on the way there, on the way back, and this was one of those albums that summer I listened to. I remembered 3 songs off that album: Tom Sawyer, Limelight, and YYZ. So pick one of the other 4. That's my least favorite.
There you go. That's reasonable. I like that.
Vital Signs.
I actually wrote in my notes that if Camera Eye wasn't as long as it was, Witchhunt would have been my last. But simply because Camera Eye went on so long, I just couldn't get past that. There wasn't enough substance for me for that to be an 11-minute song. And that is the reason that the Camera Eye, in my opinion, was the last track over Witchhunt. Because then I wrote in that Witchhunt probably would be my last if Camera Hunt was shorter. Or Camera Eye.
On the hunt for cameras.
Whatever. The two of them both suck. Not my favorites.
All right, then.
So now, Michael, what is your sleeper?
My sleep. YYZ.
What's your sleepy dark horse?
My sleepy dark horse was YYZ. And the only reason I marked
They
this
don't
like
coin that until next week.
it's true.
Yeah, that's just the phrase I've been working on.
Yeah.
We're workshopping it.
Yeah. I wrote that only because it's instrumental, so it's kind of a song you might not gravitate towards. Wow, I'm fucked up. I'm really not.
So seltzers.
It must have been. I'm not, especially for me personally, I'm not a big, I do like instrumentals if they're done right. And this one was done perfect. You really can't beat it.
Yeah.
So that one came across as my sleepy dark horse.
I went with Vital Signs just because it's not as well known near the B-sides. The last track, obviously. But I like the subtle, hints of reggae that they added. It sounded very 80s to me too. So I like what they did with that. And it's good. I actually enjoyed it as a closer. It didn't tie the themes and everything together as well, but it was still a very good, solid song.
Cool.
Give me that bass. I'll play a Vital Signs.
Do you know it?
I do know it.
That's funny.
It's hard to do, but I know it.
I went with Red Barchetta. I thought this was kind of like the single that never was. Not that I like singles. I'm not a single-driven guy, but I thought this was a perfect complement to maybe the big 3 on the album. Tom Sawyer, Limelight, and YYZ, Zed, wherever you're from.
Your personal preference.
Yeah. I love this song. I think this is one of Rush's better songs. So yeah, this is mine. But goddamn YYZ, just listen to that song. I didn't label it as one of mine. If you listen to my picks, but
one more time.
Yeah, there you go.
So again, walking to the golf course on my Zune.
Zune, I remember when you had the Zune.
That is a dated sentence.
Oh yeah, I sprung for the good Zune too. It was 120 gigabytes, personalized.
Oh yeah.
Picture on the back. It was great blue, favorite color.
Yeah.
I invested into that Zune. Eventually broke on me.
They're making a comeback.
Are they?
Yeah, I think they're coming out with new Zune soon.
Really?
Wow.
Which is probably a bad idea, but
But anyway, like I said, I remember 3 songs off that album distinctively, and I'd say that YYZ would be my sleeper, though it's kind of a tough sleeper to choose because it's actually quite popular.
That's why I didn't choose it as my sleeper.
Well,
right.
7 tracks, it's hard to...
Yeah, again, my options are limited, but out of the 3 that I really remember, I'm not going to choose Tom Sawyer as my sleeper. So YYZ.
Yeah.
Cool.
What would you say your sleeper was, Paul?
Vital Signs for me.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's hard for me to think of instrumentals as hits. I just don't know.
Yeah.
YYZ definitely has that good hook to it.
Yeah.
But Vital Signs has that bass line and that guitar lick. It definitely they really started to they really took after the Police and started playing really sparsely, and the Police had already made a formula for making really cushy hooks and over a bass line that's just fucking crazy.
Right. Right. True.
And but no, Vital Signs for me.
All right.
Michael?
Rankings.
Yeah, overall.
How about
it's,
your sleeper, Mike? I don't think.
I did it. Why was it?
Yeah. Why was
Oh,
it?
right, you
Thank
started
I
that round.
started
Yeah.
it. But I'll start the
rankings?
rankings. I gave it 3. Not a big Rush fan, but it was. I knew a lot of the first half there. I thought it started stronger than it ended. But knowing and enjoying the first at least 4 of the 3, I gave it 3 bops
Bops out of 5.
out of 5. Yep.
Would you like to rate it out of 5, Paul?
It's 4.6 out of 5.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
I like the 0.6.
6.
Because
Wow.
because a lot of things that I didn't really pay attention to, I've had time to. It's
like
the
it.
fade. It's the unnecessary fade outs or the unnecessary fade ins that I don't like. I think the reason why I don't like Red Barchetta is because it has a fade in. And it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
quiet. It's really quiet,
Hmm.
and it's. Rush. I wish they didn't do fade outs. I wish they didn't.
It was just stop and go.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're too good for fade outs. I think
Yeah.
it's like. I mean, I think they're.
Yeah.
But that's literally the only.
Good point.
I would take away 0.4 points away
Just for the fade outs.
just for those.
But everything else is perfect.
Everything else is fucking amazing. Fucking
Yeah.
perfect.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm up there too. I gave it a 4 out of 5. You know, it's their most, popular classic album of all time. Though those first 4 songs are just perfect. Essential, not quintessential.
Yeah.
But essential.
Essential Rush. Yeah.
Even like just music for that genre in general.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gone back a lot and listened to the final 3 tracks, just in general, not even in terms of for the podcast. But going back and listening to them, they do have some merit. I really enjoyed Vital Signs and Parts of Camera Eye. Witchhunt probably could have done without, maybe put a different song in there. But no, it was definitely a classic Rush album. If you want to start with any Rush album, I would recommend this one as like an intro.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 out of 5 for me. Great track.
Tom, I'm right with you. I gave it a 4 out of 5 as well. I would have, like I said earlier, I would have preferred maybe a couple more songs on it. I would have minded if it was a little longer. And I kind of wish like I said, they kind of didn't focus on like, let's put out another album, like 8 albums in a 7-year span. If they maybe combined this with Permanent Waves, their previous album, I think it would have been much closer to a 5 for me. But you can't say enough about at least the first 4 songs in this album. I love them all. So
Definitely.
4 out of 5 for me.
For me, I'm going 3 because that's how many songs that I
I love it.
really stick out. Look, I remember the singles off of this album. I don't remember the rest of it. So that's 3 out of 5 for me.
Fair enough. Okay. Awesome.
The beer.
Yeah. That's right. The Whalers Rise.
I'm gonna hang tight. I'm going 3. Solid beer, solid flavor. I liked it. I can't think off the top of my head of any other American pale ales I've had, but nice citrusy flavor. Reminded me of a solid New England IPA.
Yeah.
Definitely.
This is your beer, Paul. What do you
Yeah.
give it?
Oh.
Out of 5.
5.
Wow.
Dang.
Beer reminds me of Rhode Island or where I come from than this one.
Brings you back home.
It does, this distillery. I've never been inside, but it's just it has too much of a big name around my town.
Mm-hmm.
Carries a lot
And
of weight.
you see it on tap, you want it, you want to get it. You don't want to get the Flying Jenny or the Gray Snail, other
No,
Rhode
no.
Island pale ales. You don't want those. You want Whalers.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good to
but
know.
I'd probably be saying you'd want Flying Jenny if I was living in Westerly, Rhode Island. But no, you want Whalers.
Those
It's
westerly snobs.
a good fruity beer.
Yeah.
Good fruity beer.
I'm sitting about a 3.5. I liked it. It was very bright and citrusy. That was some perks to it. I've had it before too, so I've had a bit of experience with it, and it's good. It's solid. It's not something that I'm going to like crave or want like a lot. It misses out a bit on that X factor, but what you get a nice solid beer. It's something that goes down really smooth. You can drink a few of them and not feel too crazy or over the top. And that's pretty much it.
I'm giving it a 4. I think it's crushable. I think it's bright. I think it's citrusy. I think it's New England. I I'm a big fan of it. I actually want to go there and try some of their beers and experience their brewery. Yeah, 4s all around today for Joe. Yeah, I'm a fan. Thank you.
I'm gonna give it a 3. I want to start off by saying I freaking love the smell. It smelled
It is good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But I mean, it had some of the good flavor, but nothing that really stood out. If I saw this in the store, I'd give it a second look, but I don't know if I would make it a regular in my beer fridge. So,
Okay.
but still a good beer.
Shout outs.
Yeah, awesome.
Let's do it.
Whalers is just whalers.com. WHALERS.com.
And I
out
think-
of Wakefield, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Go give them a look. They
And
got some tap room hours. They have a pretty nice website too.
Cool.
I think their Instagram is Whalers Brewing.
Oh,
If you
okay.
wanna check
I don't
them
know their
out.
socials.
Yeah. And then our band, Rush.
Yes.
Instagram handle, Rush.
Ooh.
I'm sure.
They,
That's them.
I'm sure if you
They heard
Google
it.
Rush, you'd be able to find.
yeah,
it.
right.
let's
They
see.
nabbed it. But like, it's not even like Rush official or like
It's
Rush
just
band.
Rush.
It's Rush. They got it. They
Yeah.
like snuck in and got that name.
Beautiful.
So there you go.
You know, Getty's Instagram name is @GettyImages.
Really?
Really?
No way.
It's fucking amazing.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Next episode, we have episode 24, and Trevor is going to be our
Hang
guest
with
on that
us.
episode. So, Trevor, you're bringing both things. Tell us what you're bringing.
So I am bringing bars, toasted blonde ale,
Out of New Haven.
which we might have already had. And the album is going to be As Daylight Dies by Killswitch Engage.
Nice.
So excited.
Cool.
Sounds
So,
like fun.
like always, if you are listening along, start drinking the beer, listen to the album before you listen to the episode, so you can kind of understand what we're saying. But yeah, that's us. So Paul, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
Coming
Paul.
on.
Mr. Canarky.
Thank you.
Mr. Canarky.
Oh man.
Yeah, come back again. I mean, you
Yeah,
have
for sure.
a wealth of musical knowledge. So
Yeah, maybe we'll do
come
Queen
back.
or something next time.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
So, as always, Hops and Bops Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. We are streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. For Mike and Tom, our guests today, Trevor and Paul, I'm Joe. We'll see you next time. Peace.